Merry Christmas, people. It's Christmas Eve as I'm recording this. I'm not sure when the video will go up, so if it's already been Christmas, I hope he's had a good one and he's staying safe and that over the new year. But yeah, today, like I say, it's Christmas Eve, so I hope everyone's enjoying themselves. I know I am. Today we've got our top 15 UK albums or projects. There's some mixtapes in here, but we just call it albums because, you know, what's the difference between a mixtape and an album, really, realistically? We've got some mixtapes in here, projects, top 15 UK projects, if you want to call it, of 2020. Like I said in my last video, if you haven't checked that one out, go and see it. We've got honourable mentions and the best US albums as well. I discussed that in the last one. Like I said in that video as well, 2020 has been a mad thing, I can't lie.
Last year was a mad thing, I can't lie. I thank God he bought me some time, money can't buy.
Yeah, listen, anyway, we've got our top 15 record of the year. I'm going to try and keep it short, or as short as I can, because I've got a lot to discuss with these albums, you get me? You know, I've made like a list and a little review type thing of each one that we're going to go through today. Like I said, if your favourite album isn't in this video, it might be in the last one in the honourable mentions. I doubt it though, because, you know, we've got the best 15 of the year in this video right here. So let's get into the list. As always, this is just my opinion. Everyone's got an opinion. Let me know yours in the comments below. Let me know your favourite albums of the year. But let's get into the list at number 15. We've got Hmoneta with Flex Therapy 2. Now, this album right here, I've only just got onto recently. You know, Hmoneta, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Like I say, I don't even know this guy. This is the first time I've heard his music, listening to this record. And I was a fan, you know, I was a huge fan. I went into this not expecting anything, like I didn't know what to expect. And from the first track, the first thing I noticed was his voice. The way he's come onto the beat, he's commanding, he's grabbed the beat and he's commanding with it. His delivery, his flow, his tone of voice is just really like powerful and demanding, like I say. Even though on the first track I didn't really like the hook, so I was a bit put off, you know, at the start. You know, the Kevin Antonio feature, I feel like his voice didn't really fit the beat. That Kevin Antonio guy, I don't even know who he is, didn't really feel like he fit the song very well. But that song was a banger to me regardless because of the production. You know, the production on that track was a Mazzolini, you get me? And Hmoneta's voice and flow and delivery, too cold, too cold. There's a track on this record called No Mileage, which sees a feature from an artist called Known, or KWN. Now, Known is an artist who is quite unknown, for me at least. This was my second time seeing Known on a track. The first time was on the Scribs Riley album from this year, which we will get to in this list. Big up Scribs Riley, that album was incredible. We'll get to that later. But yeah, a nice feature from Known. And yeah, like this project was solid start to finish, I thought. The next album on this list is a bit of a controversial one. At number 14, we've got Heady One with Edna. Now, this is a controversial statement saying it's the 14th best album of the year. That means there's 13 better projects that came out this year than Edna. A lot of people had this project at number 1, you know, the best album of the year. And for me, it's down at number 13. Like I said at the start, this is my opinion. Or it's down at number 14, sorry, not even 13. Like I said, this is my opinion. Everyone's got an opinion. Don't be mad about mine. Just let me know yours in the comments below. You get me? With Edna, I don't know what it was. You know, I just don't think there was much replay value to the project for me personally. And that's a big part when it comes to listening to projects, albums. You know, I know the like release was a mad thing, the promo for the album, the charts as well, you know, we had some mad placements on the charts with Ain't It Different. I'm sure that hit number 1. Only You Freestyle as well, crazy. But for me, like, you know, the project, it starts off well. Teach Me, I thought was a fire track, and Psalm 45 as well. You know, I like the bounce and the verses on that track. I like the bounce to the beat on that track. You know, it had a bit of a bounce to it. The verses were cold and the hook on that one as well was solid. You know, we've got the track Bumpy Ride. Heady's flow and delivery on that one was just too sick. And M. Huncho's featured on there. Probably one of the MVPs of 2020, M. Huncho. The track Triple Science definitely stood out to me as well. The production was a Mazzolini on that track. You get me? That was definitely one of the best tracks for sure. As for Ain't It Different, like I mentioned at the start, definitely a huge tune in the UK, you know, charting. It's got Heady One, AJ Tracy, Stormzy, 3 of the biggest artists in the UK. I expected more from it because of that fact. It's 3 of the biggest artists in the UK. I feel like everyone came in, they did the thing, but it wasn't nothing special for me. I didn't really revisit it much. It wasn't one I added to my like songs or playlist and came back and revisited. We did a reaction on the channel and I did mention all of those things there, but for me personally, it just wasn't anything special. The tune Princess Cuts as well, another banger. Young T and Bugsy go ham on that track right there. That's another hit off the album. We've got the track 21 Guns Salute though, which I thought was definitely one of the tracks that let this album down. I thought that track was whack, I can't lie. The ads feature as well didn't even save it. I'm a huge Young Ads fan, as you'll see in this reaction, or in this review, sorry, as we get into more albums and stuff. But for me, this song just wasn't it. We've got the track Hear No Evil as well, featuring Future, which is a massive crossover between the UK and the US. But for me, again, this track, I just didn't like it. I didn't think it had replay value. I wouldn't come back to it. Once I heard the album a few times, I didn't save that track, come back to it. After I heard Heady One and Drake and Only You Freestyle, which is one of my favourite songs of the year, I expected bigger things from this, because Future's one of my favourite artists. If you checked out my last video, you know how much I love Future. But this song just wasn't it for me again. Now let's talk about Only You Freestyle, one of the definite highlights of this project, one of the definite highlights of 2020. A crazy collab between one of the biggest artists in the UK, Heady One, and the biggest artist in the world, in Drake. Drake jumping on drill, we've already seen it with War, Demons with Fabio Foreign and Sosa Geek. Drake came in with a mad ting flow. He took like some certain like flows and delivery from grime. It felt like it was grime inspired, the Skepta, the Lethal B, when he was coming in with that flow, like, don't make me have to rise my rifle. That's like, that bit there, that makes me reminds me of like a grime type flow, a Lethal B and Skepta. But then he had the drill flows in there as well. So this tune was mad, and Drake just went in, and I thought Heady was gonna get spun on this track. I can't lie, once I heard Drake's verse, I was like, oi, Heady might be getting spun there. And I thought that was going to be the case, Heady getting spun, all the way up until I heard this. Oh, how he hit ladies. How much points did the gang got many? Did I never have to rise that dots? It was just under my bed and ready. The bro boy chinned up up boy, I swear he got chinged already. That next one for you was boss, then he got shot, Nathan Tetty. Heady definitely put on for the UK scene right here, because I know a lot of Americans would have checked this track out, because obviously it's a new Drake tune. But Heady One definitely put on for the UK, showed what he can do with that Heady flow. Crazy bars, crazy flow. Just the way he came in, oh how he hit leggers, mad. I had to reel that one, done a reaction on the channel, check that one out there. We finish off with Cold as well with Cash Page. Definitely a nice feature from Cash Page there. I first heard the Cash Page on the Don Toliver track Euphoria with Travis Scott, and that's an absolute tune. I'm a big fan of Cash Page vocals. She's a very nice singer. She's got an incredible voice. But yeah, that's it for the Edna review, I guess. We're doing sort of like a mini review for each of these projects as we go through. But yeah, like I say, Edna, number 14, just wasn't for me. At number 13 on the list, we've got DBlock Europe with The Blueprint, Us versus Them. Now, like I've said a few times in this video and my last one with the honourable mentions, I'm a big fan of wave type music, and just how it sounds to the ear is not so much about what they're saying on the track. As we know, DBlock, they're not a lyrical group. Ads and LB, they don't come with bars and lyrics. They do come with some bars, don't get me wrong, actually. I take that back, but you know what they're going to be talking about. They're going to be talking about gal, the drip, buying chains, watches, being a bowcat, as we know Ads is. But yeah, like, this was their only drop of 2020 compared to 3 drops in 2019. So a slow year in terms of like releases for DBlock, but definitely a solid one for me personally. 29 tracks, obviously Bando Baby 29. And there were some absolute bangers off this album. The melodies that these guys hit, Ads and LB, the melodies that they hit are just crazy. Like, we start off with Destiny, and straight away we've got LB on the hook. LB starting off the album. I feel like LB has definitely grown on me this year. Compared to previous DBlock releases, I wasn't really a huge fan of LB. I was mainly just into Ads. But LB showed that he's got serious talent on this project right here. Starting off with Destiny, Ads obviously taking over the hook at the end. My daughter's a blessing, Destiny. Yeah, crazy tune right there. We've got Plain Jane as well, which is just another sick melody and flow and chorus. They come with these infectious melodies. Once you hear it once, you'll be singing it all day. DBlock music is just mad. It's so infectious. Like I said, you hear a chorus and then you'll just be singing it all day. Like, my daughter's a blessing, Destiny. You'll be saying it all day. We've got the track Shame on Me as well, which shows a vulnerable side to DBlock. It was a very like emotional and like deep sort of track, Shame on Me. And I really did enjoy that track right there, seeing that different side. We've got the track Michelin Star featuring Teflon Don, which I thought was a crazy track, a sick track. But the mix was just off. I don't know what it was. When they first released the album, it was as if they'd uploaded to Spotify the non-mixed and not mastered version of the song. And then I think they re-uploaded it, but it still sounds trash. When Steph comes in, it drops the volumes. It's just not mixed well at all. It doesn't sound like it's mixed at all. So if it is mixed, DBlock, you need to fire whoever mixed it, because it's trash. Like, I'm just going to say it just sounds not good. It needs to be mixed better. We've got the tune We Won. And no, we didn't win. That track is a skip for me. And then Mr. Mysterious follows that up, which again is another skip for me. We've got the track Last Night in Marbella, which is a solo tune from LB. This one is another skip for me personally. You know, Ads did a song called Last Night in Paris on this album, as well as a solo track, which is a much better Last Night in track for me. Then we've got the track Proud, and I'm very proud of Ads on this one here, and I'm very proud of whoever produced this beat, because this song right here is mad. One of my favourite songs of the year. Definitely one of the highlight tracks off the album for me. The track Codeine and Fashion Design, again, is a testament to what I said at the start, with that infectious hook, you know, Codeine and Fashion Design, Codeine and Fashion Design. Like, it sounds like it's on a loop, and the way the beat's bouncing, it just gets like infected into you, and you just end up singing it all day, like I say. And LB shows out on this one right here, he's sick. The tune Ferrari Horses is another highlight on this record for me. This flow right here from Ads. Ferrari horses here, pumpkin scoop and ski, one of these icy freeze, and my new home on page 3. I love that right there, the Ferrari horses here. Yeah, that one's mad. And the way LB comes in on this track as well is crazy. We've got to shout out LB. Big vibe went way too high. We fucked so much, she gon' break them now. That's a sports car, that's a Audemars. We fucked tonight in the same Chanel. At number 12, we have Call of Duty 3 by Young's Teflon. Young's Teflon, one of the best rappers in the UK. I'm saying it right now. One of the best spitters. One of the best rappers. You know, if we're talking about rap as a genre rather than drill or grime, just rap. Young's Tef is definitely up there with one of the best in the UK. And he shows that on the opening track intro. You know, he shows why he is one of the best in the UK. The realness on that track. You know, the way he spits. The way he keeps to the Call of Duty theme. He says he's got black, brown and white ops, and if you know about Black Ops Cold War, which is out right now, and if you played the Black Ops series, like, that one just hits different there. The tune Bally Bop as well, featuring RV, was one of my favourites off this record. You know, I think they just flowed so well together on that track, and RV's entrance onto this track was just cold. The tune Cold Harbour Lane is definitely another highlight off this record for me. The beat was a mazzoline, you know, the production on that tune there, crazy. One of my favourite songs off the project for sure. Old Trafford Part 2 was a short but sweet track off this record, and as a Liverpool fan, you can see Virgil van Dijk on the calendar over there. Yeah, as a Liverpool fan, I shouldn't really be liking a song called Old Trafford, but this one for me was a sick tune. I thought, you know, he came in and out, quite a short one, but definitely a fan of that one there. And now we get to Rule of Two, and where do I even start with this one? I'd go on all day speaking about this tune. We've got a reaction on the channel though, so go and check that one out if you haven't already. What a mad tune Rule of Two was, featuring Dave. You know, and it seems to be a theme this year with like people in, or just people in the UK in general. When they release a project, they've got a tune on there specifically designed at the female audience. And you know, the tune that Ali, I thought, is definitely aimed at the more female audience. It's not for me personally, but I think the female fans of Young's Tef would like that tune there, and I understand why people do it. So, but yeah, again, like I say, solid project from Young's Tef there. Definitely one of my favourites of the year. At number 11 on the list, we have Product of My Environment by Abracadabra. Now, this is one that we did a full album reaction to on the channel. Another mixtape, you know, people love calling albums mixtapes, but it is what it is, whatever you want to class it as. Yeah, this one I definitely rate higher than I did on first listen. You know, a few of the tracks on there definitely grew on me. You know, Abra starts off with Trenches, showing that singy side to him, and I love Abracadabra when he's singing as much as I love those high-paced, fast energy tunes, you know. The On Deck, the Show Me, the Spin This Coupe. You know, we all know about those bangers that came out as singles. And obviously with coronavirus, the clubs are shut down. But if the clubs were open this year, I can see those tracks going mad. But like the outro says on Trenches, Dabby's back with singing, rapping, drilling. You get me? He's doing it all on this project there. And it's definitely grew on me after first listen. Now moving into the top 10. At number 10, we have Nate Smalls and M Huncho with DNA. Now, this was one of my favourite projects of the year in terms of replay value. I probably revisited this album the most times out of any album on this list. But the reason it's at number 10, you'll see the ones above it. I just had to put above it. But I was a huge fan of this record right here. From the get-go on this record, you can tell that what you're in for. You know, Nate Smalls and M Huncho have such a chemistry together. And I feel like they just flow so well off the back of each other. You know, from the New Age, as DNA stands for, the first track, The New Age, Huncho goes crazy with that flow when he's like, woke up in the kitchen, see the wrist game, took the piss, all he ever did was piss take, mad flow. You see that one there? That was crazy. And Nath is nice on that flow as well. You see that tune Heroes as well? When Nath comes in with that flow, when he's like, getting the dough and getting alive, the life. That flow right there is crazy. The flows, the melodies that these brothers hit on this record is crazy. It felt like a healthy competition between brothers on this album almost. The tune Flooded, where they go back to back on each other, shows that chemistry right there. It felt like healthy competition, like they were constantly trying to push each other to deliver hard verses. You know, I don't feel like there was any tune really where I thought, oh, Huncho spun Nath on that, or Nath spun Huncho on that tune. Now we get to the tune Cold World. And when I say this song is Song of the Year for me, I mean, this is Song of the Year for me. Like, as Dryden, my brother Dryden will know, and my guy Kof as well from Go Play Studio, as they'll know, this is my tune to get in the mood to start rapping myself. Obviously, I make music. I've not said that already in this review. Check 2021. We've got mad things dropping, you get me? But yeah, like I'm saying, this is the song I listen to try and hit, like, get me voice warmed up, hit different vocal ranges. Because we've got Young Ads featured on this one here. And Ads' verse is one of my favourite verses I've heard all year from any song. All three of them go in on this track. Nath starts it off well. Huncho does a sick. I'm a visionary. I can see the vision in my eyes and my eyes don't lie. But just the way Ads comes in and the ski, the ad-libs, this is one of my favourite verses of the year. Made £250,000 in my Nikes. And I just bought 10 bricks and it came off a Pikey. Her pussy so wet, she a Pisces. Ain't no secret, other rappers don't like me. Hella smoke like Chinese. Oh shit, I mean chimney. Rambo is kidney. Beat them really Rigby. Pull up and draw like all the time. This album right here, I hope we get another one like this from Huncho and Nath Smalls, because I was a huge fan of this record. Some absolutely banging tracks, and I hope there is more to come from this duo. At number 9, we've got Insomnia by Skepta, Chip and Young Ads. Now, I was not expecting this collab, you know, another collab album like DNA. I was not expecting this one though, because, you know, Skepta and Chip, I guess maybe with the grime, but Young Ads to jump on with Skepta and Chip on a whole album, I was not expecting that at all. This was one that dropped at the start of lockdown, I think it was, way back in like March times, and I just remember spinning this record over and over again. I've just got good memories of this album, you know. I remember spinning it while we're on the Xbox, all the boys, everyone's furloughed and off work because of the lockdown and coronavirus. Everyone's just online on the Xbox 24 hours a day. I just remember spinning this with the bevies and getting waved on the Xbox, you get me? So I'm just a big fan of this record for that reason there. You know, it hits me with like those memories every time I listen to it. But not only that, it's a solid body of work. With the opening track Mains, you know, all three of them show off the skills. You know, Skepta, he comes with that delivery. Every time you hear Skep, he's coming with delivery. Chip comes in and shows why he's one of the hardest spitters in the game. And, you know, he's always saying he's king of the mic. No one can step to Chip. But then Ads comes in to balance out the rapping from Skep and Chip with the melodies and the flows and the vibes, you get me? So it's a nice contrast there. And Chip even copies a few of Ads' flows on this tune on Mains with the horse flow going on. You know, it's sick. It is sick the way they're like inspired off each other. Then we get the track Golden Brown, where Skepta's actually singing, which isn't a sound that I'm really used to. You know, obviously you normally hear Skepta with the grime, the fast spitting flows, and the bars and stuff, but he's singing on the chorus for Golden Brown, which is one of my favourites on the record. You know, she's addicted to the melanin, golden brown, golden brown. We have the track Waves, which has Ads on the hook, and now, like I say, if you get Ads on a feature or on a project with Ads, let him do the hook, because it's going to be crazy. And then it's shown on Waves.
When I try to use Waves, mum said, can you change your way? Heroin on the floor, 5 racks on my bando door, I'm paid. Make that bitch squirt, and I need some go-go's to take. They ain't go like C, you ain't a go like SK.
And Chip's verse on this song here shows why he is one of the best MCs in the game. You know, he comes in on smoke on this song right here and kills it. Traumatized is another example of Ads running a hook. You know, 20 racks on therapy because I'm traumatized. Like, those harmonies that he hits, the eyes, like the eye sound in Ads' voice when he hits that, it's one of my favourite flows that he does, and like, you know, melodies that he hits. And the final track on this record is called Intro. So hopefully it's like a, you know, an ode to, they've got more to come. Do you know what I mean? I hope there is more to come from this trio, because I was a huge fan of Insomnia. So you know, another album from these brothers, it'd be hard. I would enjoy it. I really enjoyed this one. I can spin it. There are a few tracks that I'm like, meh, it's not for me really, but I'll let it play through. You know, there might be certain parts in the song that I do like, a certain one flow here and there, you get me, but solid project nonetheless. At number 8 on the list, we have one of my favourite artists in the UK, one of the most exciting artists, I think, in the UK, and that is Frosty with Under Surveillance. Now, this mixtape right here is one of my favourite bodies of work of the year. As you can see, I'm rated highly on this list. It's only number 8, but that sounds low, but it's made the top 10 at least, you get me. But this one right here, I'm a huge fan of Frosty ever since I heard County Lines. You know, the way Frosty flows, it just sounds different. He sounds quite chilled and laid back. And the end of his lines, he sort of drops the volume, if you know what I mean. Like, if we look back at like County Lines, he's like, pure at being a splattered. Like, the way he comes down like a volume almost, or like on tone at the end of the lines. That's what stands out for me in Frosty's flow. And I'm just a huge fan of how it sounds. We've got a few features on this record here as well. And one featuring Unknown T, which is one of the hardest features I've heard of the year. I'm not even kidding. Unknown T's verse on this song was crazy.
Bang off the lap and then duck from the pookies. OT trick flick, got my legits getting through junction M40. Pagans piss cause the cops ain't cool. Flip the whip in a tiz with a bitch.
Yeah, Unknown T goes in. We've got a K-Trap feature on there which was solid as well. Then we've got the track Soccer Mums as well, which definitely stood out to me for the production. The production sounded mad. It reminded me a bit of Stranger Things with like the chimes in the beat. This one here just sounded mad to me, sounded wavy, you get me? The production was crazy on this one right here. I definitely enjoyed it. Big up Hargo. One thing I really like about Frosty is his ad-libs. He's got an ad-lib where it sounds like he's like breathing on a window, and I just really like the sound of it. You can see that in the chorus of Free Bay as well, which is one of my favourite tracks off the album, featuring Dirt by LB from DBlock Europe, who I think actually ruined the track a bit. I feel like this should have just been Frosty. Frosty ran this track, and it's such a cold tune.
If I need this 50 stack your crib, I know I'll still be there. That's why I got match in his and hands.
See the ad-lib? He's like,
used to pray for times like this shit, climbing through the worst.
There's like a high vocal in the background on the hook of this track as well, which just sounds so cold to me, like layering on top of Frosty's vocals on the hook.
You might hear some things I can't explain, whatever they say is true. Even though I cover your face in pictures, everyone knows it's you. How could I compare and do everything that girl's supposed to do? I know it's a lot to take in, so I'ma let you choose. You might hear some things I can't explain, whatever they say is true. Even though I cover your face in pictures, everyone knows it's you.
The final track on this project as well is called Step by Step, and it's almost as if he's teaching us how to whip up the Yola, you get me? It's a mad concept, and I'm not sure if you can get in trouble with the federales for a concept like that, you know, teaching people how to whip up illegal substances. But it's a mad concept. It almost sounds like, you know, Frosty's came up from that. We know about County Lines, we know about that, he's been to jail before, but it almost sounds like on this track he's handing over the reins to the next generation of trappers, and he's saying, look, I'm making it off the music now, I'm going serious with this, I don't need to do that life, but I'll teach us how to do it, because I'm moving on as a vet, as a sensei. It's my job to teach us how to do it properly. So it's a crazy concept there, that track. And you know, if you're looking on getting into trapping, definitely check that out, because it's like a nice step-by-step guide on how to get into it. But yeah, man, it's crazy. This album right here, or mixtape, sorry, one of my favourites of the year for sure. At number 7 in the list, we have V9 with Yudo Kuna. One of my favourite artists in the UK right now is V9. Like I mentioned in the honourable mentions video with the 9/8 tape. You know, the 98 boys are just cold. Yeah, V9 is definitely up there with one of the best in the 98 crew. And this Yudo Kuna project right here was just a mad thing to me, because I expected V9 to come in on the Hmoneta Sensei vibes and to come in on just a straight drill. But the production on this project right here is just incredible. It really is incredible. It stands out from anything else in the drill scene. And you know, it was just a vibe all the way through. Even though he's talking crud on the tracks, the production is just a vibe. Another thing that puts V9 apart from the competition in the drill scene is his voice and his delivery. Like, his tone is devilish. Everyone knows about V9 too devilish. Chefman's bed for being too comfortable. You get me? Like, V9's voice and delivery, and the ad-lib when he comes in on a track, the hey, come here, devilish. You get me? Yeah, scary stuff. But this project as a whole was just sick. He had some sick hooks on there. That's definitely one thing I noticed on this project, V9 is sick at doing hooks. Like even from the intro track, the track Brook It as well is one of my favourites on there because of the hook.
Always clean, rock it, we love that. Swing this one more combat, ayy. Swing this one for the galley, sneaky settings, we love that, ayy.
And one thing we do have to shout out is Double S. That's the team. You get me? Double S. Yeah, CD settings. We love that. Yeah, CD settings. Shout out Walks to CD. Shout out V9 and all the CD settings members. You get me? Like I mentioned before about the 98 boys, we've got a few features on here from the 98 boys. We've got Al Chabino, Billy Billions as well. Billy comes in and gets V9 to do a singy sing. You're mad. Yeah, V9, I watched his reaction to his own mixtape with Walks and Levi. Shout out Prop by Walks and Lee to the VI. You get me? And V9 was just saying Billy was in the booth. Obviously Billy Billions, you know he comes with those vocals. Yeah, and Billy was just in the booth and V9 was like, nah man, you're gassing me up. And he got in there and just started singing, bro. And V9's singing. It's a crazy sound, but it sounds sick. You know, V9 did his thing on his project, showed his versatility. He can sing. He's or showed that he is a great rapper at that. Do you know what I mean? He showed people that he can rap and do all sorts as an artist. This song right here, Telly with Al Chabino, might be my favourite off of the record. I'm not even messing. We've got Johnny on productions, which you normally hear on like an M Huncho DBlock type beat or flow. Do you know what I mean? Like the melodies. So to hear Johnny doing drill and V9 on it, it's crazy. Al Chabino definitely winning on that track there. We've got a feature from CS on the track called Budge as well. And I think he might have spun V9. I'm not going to say too much. The way CS comes in on that tune is just mad.
Beef is beef, I smoke a don. It's old school like Pokemon. We're OG, get the older button. I got new match shows, you can hold them some. Play my darkest days. Come from the darkest state. If I catch man, then the axe man. No way on earth, the dog get saved. Got a gun, then the dog get blazed. Got a knife, then the dog get shaved.
CS's flow is mad, and V9 said that he said to CS, if you spin me on this tune, I'm changing my verse. And I think CS might have spun him there. CS's feature was called. But yeah, man, like overall, this project is sick. Definitely check this one out. If you're bored of that like drill sound, you know, this sounds different to that regular just hi-hats with the 808 slides on top. You get me? Like, this is definitely, the production sets it apart from the rest. At the number 6 spot, we're nearly at the top 5 now. At the number 6 spot, just missing out on the top 5, is another member of the 98 gang, 98 gang, 98 gang. Yeah, it's Unknown T with Rise Above Hate. Now this is a project that I had to go and cop the CD for, you get me? I don't know if you can see because the light's doing a mad thing right now. We got the CD for this one, yeah, because we bought the merch. We got the fucking t-shirt in the wardrobe there, yeah, we've got the Unknown T merch. Unknown T definitely did his thing in 2020, you get me? He had a good few features here and there as well as this project, which was solid. You know, he was featured on Dumper with M24 and Ill Blue. And his verse on that was so hard.
Two bad things with a bumper, jig it, bumper car, arch and bring it. Jesus, peace got the diamonds blinging, smoking a dance with women. My older bros days on a black road spilling. Same way I got my young tucks drilling. Cock it, block it, fling out your arse, say shit that wasted me, feel that kitten. Burst this champagne open that just came back on the streets. Be a bitch 5 for free, nails on fleek with a BBL, she a freak.
He also featured on Ride and Clutch with Tanner, Millions and all of them, man, there. And the way Unknown T pronounces his B's is so venomous. Like, it's as if he's got a lot of anger built up inside him. So like when he says B, it's like he builds it up and he's like, burst the champagne open and just came back on the streets, as we saw in the Dumper verse. But this verse again on Ride and Clutch just shows that aggressiveness and delivery and flow. He's so confident when he steps onto a track.
Free off the cool when we ride and clutch. Blast is bare residue on my gloves. Gal wanna reverse and give man up, no fuss when he revs and crutch.
We also had the verse on Under Surveillance, like I've already showed you, on Frosty's tune, which was one of my favourite features of the year. We had Drip Drip on the Yudo Kuna album, which again I've already mentioned. And we also had a feature on the 98 tape. Obviously, big up the class of 98, big up 98 gang, you get me? Now, on this record as well for Rise Above Hate, let's get to the actual record, yeah, and not just everything else that he's done this year apart from this album or mixtape, whatever he's called it, yeah. So we start off, we've got Dede, yeah, Rise of the Ting Them Bow, Dede. As my brother Kodge calls this, Unknown T is the Michael Jackson of drill. You know, Kodge was wounded when they took this down off of YouTube. Obviously, Dede got removed off YouTube. Yeah, but Kodge said that Unknown T was the Michael Jackson of drill for this tune here. If you don't know who Kodge is, he's a Scouse MC, one of the hardest in Liverpool. Go and check him out. Spotify, Apple Music, the lot, YouTube. Go and search him up and stream his things, you get me? We've got the track Fresh Home as well, which he released as a single. Obviously, he was in jail and got out, and then he's done a mad thing this year. We've got the track Fresh Home, which I was a huge fan of. The way the drums come in on that track there is so hard, and his flows are crazy. The tune Main Squeeze, like I mentioned earlier with Young's Tef's album, I feel like Main Squeeze is the gal tune. Yeah, the one aimed at the women. Got Young T and Bugsy on there. They go ham on the chorus, which makes it bearable for me. There's a skit on this album as well, which Unknown T like explains the concept of rising above the hate and stuff. But I don't know who the woman is on the skit. But the way she was acting, her voice acting was trash. I'm just gonna say it now. Her voice acting was trash. But yeah, just, like Unknown T explained the concept of the album on there. Then we had SS Interlude. Now, me being me and a V9 fan, you know, I thought this was double S. That's a team. CD Settings. You get me? But no, it was Sweet Symphony. And we had Unknown T singing, and I really like this track. You know, because I wasn't expecting it. Like I said, you know, I was expecting double S. That's the team. CD Settings, yeah? All of that. But no, we got Sweet Symphony, and it's Unknown T singing. Definitely one of my favourites of the project because of how unexpected it was to hear T on this sound. LV again is another track where Unknown T shows how hard his delivery is, especially with the B sound, and he's like burst, like it's mad. Young Ads is featured on this track as well. Unknown T will be like, look at the Louis Vuitton when I rock, and Ads will be in the background like, yeah, and the way it sounds so sick. The contrast of the low tone, Unknown T monotone, I'm coming in, Unknown T Hmoneta B, yeah, on that tone. But then to have Ads in the background like, yeah, it's such a nice contrast and it sounds so sick. We've got the track Mortal Kombat, which was one I revisited a lot because it was so addicting. It had like this bounce to it and it was like an effective flow. And it was like Mortal Kombat, trap, back of the whap. It's something crazy, like the flow. It was so addictive. We had the tune Leave That Trap featuring AJ Tracy as well, which got released as a single. That reminded me a lot of Mortal Kombat, just the rhyme schemes. It reminded me of, it was pretty much felt like the same song almost I was listening to, but featuring AJ Tracy. Squeeze and Bus is another tune that got released as a single, which I absolutely loved. This one gets reloaded bare when I listen to this one, yeah? The drop on this one is mad, and the way he does that flow later on, which I'll probably play it now and vibe to it. But yeah, the flow is mad and the hook is crazy.
The poor hate me because they weren't no smoking. Gunman sounds to the club said no smoking, but we brought that smoking. I'm the best of my age, no boasting. We know fanboys hate when I'm ghosting.
At the second half of this tune, he's got this flow where he like ends the word with that like you know, that ad lib he does where he's like and he ends the lines with that ad lib, and it sounds so cold, the flow, and again with those B's.
Fresh on, straight back to the cash. 2 Rambo blades to Angel back while Bill should beat that mash. Big brown booty, rewind that arse on snap, let me see that yash. Eyes roll back, shoot up to me off on cam and bust on a lash. Stop shining the wrist on Grammys, VS1, it don't need no flash.
Then we had the track Avengers or Av9ers, however you want to pronounce it there. You know, like I've already said, big up the 98 gang. We had KO and V9 on there. You know, I love Unknown T and V9's chemistry, especially on Drip Drip as well, and on this track as well it shows. I feel like those two there have got a sick chemistry together on tracks. V9's ad-libs are too sick, like I've already mentioned in the Yudo Kuna like explanation mini review type thing. V9's ad-libs are just crazy. Definitely one of my favourite albums of the year. You know, big up Unknown T and the 98 gang, like I've said. And let's move on to the next album. Getting into the top 5 and starting it off at number 5 is Potter Paper with Training Day 3. Now this was Potter's second drop of the year after 2020 Vision, a little mini 4-track EP that he dropped when he got out of jail. Obviously Potter Paper's been in jail for like the best part of the last 2 years, and he's free, got freed this year. Came home same night almost when he got released from jail. He dropped an EP of 4 tracks and it was so hard. And then this album, Training Day 3, you know, completing the Training Day trilogy. And for me personally, this is Potter's best body of work ever. You know, his best out of the Training Day series and everything else that he's ever done. I just loved this project so much. And, you know, it just shows that he must have been writing bare in jail thinking, you know, when I get out of here, I'm taking the music serious and I'm not coming back here ever again. You get me? I mean, I hope he doesn't go back because I want him out there making music. And it shows on the track. I've had to write this down because it's a mad thing. A658 AM, which is his prisoner number, I'm guessing, from the track. And, you know, it just shows, like, how like that life or that path that he took in his life has affected him personally, and he's discussing that in his music. We've got the track Round Here, which features M1 on the beat, on the production, and M1 does a mazzoline on the production for this track. What I found with Pot of Paper is that it's not so much about what he's saying, because we know Pot of Paper is a spitter, and you know he's going to come with that real rap and bars in every track that he's on. But for enjoyment purposes, it's just down to the beat selection. That's all it comes down to. You know, there's 24 tracks on this project right here, and it just comes down to the beat selection, whether you like the track or not, for me personally, because, you know, with the lyrics, he's going to come with it hard every single time. And on the track Round Here, you know, we've got bars like, I'll come to your show, let it shout like a heckler. That right there is just a crazy bar. Just one example out of many, many on that track there, and every track in the project. Another one where I'm talking about the beat is the track Science. You know, the beat's got a bit of a bounce to it. It's a bit of a weird one for like to spit over, but Potter still comes and delivers on this bouncy type beat. Frank White is a highlight track for me. The sample on this is a mazzoline. I think this is the track he says at the start himself. The sample's crazy, and it really is. Definitely a highlight track for me, Frank White. Green District is another track that stands out for the production for me. Like I keep saying, it does come down to the production with this one here for this project. And Green District is another one that's just fire. Bando Embassy, another instrumental that I just loved. With the piano in the background, it sounded so sick. And then you get those bars like, free all the guys on the landing, especially the ones who aren't landing. Come on. Prevention and Cure was another highlight track for me. You know, there's like a rockstar guitar sample almost in the background of the beat, and you know, it just goes crazy. And at the end of the track, it shows Potter's raw talent as a spitter. Like I said, he must have just been writing beer in jail. And as a songwriter myself, you know, the track name is almost one of the last things that you think of, at least for me personally. And he's just spitting Prevention and Cure, and then he goes, you know what, that's what we're going to call this one. And you hear the raw vocals at the end, and it just shows you how talented he is, because he's just spitting, laying his tracks down and thinking about like the minor things, which is like the track name and stuff like that later. He's just getting the verses out there. The track Beggars and Choosers was number 12 on the album, I do believe, or the mixtape. And it sort of did feel like the halfway point. Like I say, there's 24 tracks. It did feel like the halfway point of the album, and a change was needed, which comes right back in on the next track, which is Real Rapper. And there was like a horn at the start of that track, and it reminded me of Deads by Migos. I don't know why. It just sounded like epic and like builds up to something, do you know what I mean? So it was definitely needed a change in the album. I felt like it was getting quite mellow and quite like low energy, but then we come right back in with that energy. When I Was Little, crazy track. If you've heard this project, you know about that one there. Definite highlight. King's Blood was the track where I really thought about, you know what, it is just the beat selection for Potter and not about what he's saying, because he spits on every track. But with that King's Blood track, it's like a mad thing harmonica type sound in the background of the beat, and I'm like, this is cold. So it really comes down to the instrumental, whether I revisit a track or not, for this project here. Like I've mentioned with some other albums on this list, you know, there's always a gal tune on here, one for the ladies, and we've got With Me on Training Day 3, which I think is a tune for the gal. You know, it's not for me, but the Bryson Tiller sample, I'm not sure if they sampled that from the original sample or from Exchange by Bryson Tiller, but it goes crazy, you know, come on. Trapstar Memoirs is another highlight for me. Then you've got Midnight on Ilford Lane, which is just real rap. You've got the track Streets, which features Mover, you know, Free Mover, the only feature on the project. So yeah, definitely a hard track there. And then we had Lane, which was a solid closer. And one word, if I could sum this project up in one word, it would be consistent. You know, every single track, it was consistent all the way through. Shout out Pot of Paper. And let's move on to number 4. At number 4 on the list, we've got a bit of a different one still. We've got Wish Me Luck by Scribs Riley. Now, this is a bit of a different sound. You know, it's not like your typical rap or drill like we've mentioned with like Unknown T and Unknown T and Hmoneta B, Unknown T and V9 and Frosty, like that type sound. He's like a singer, almost Scribs Riley. But this project right here is solid all the way through. I'd probably give this a 9 out of 10, this project right here, you know. I'm not even messing. We've got a Cash Page feature on there, which is just cold, you know. I first heard a Cash Page on Don Toliver. Don Toliver's album, Heaven or Hell. She was on the track Euphoria. Incredible voice. Like I've already mentioned, she's on Heady One's album as well. We've got the track Impress Me, which is a solid feature from Heady One. And it felt like a Heady One track featuring Scribs. Scribs was only on this track for about 20 seconds, and the rest of the song was Heady One. But the thing that comes down to is that not only is Scribs Riley a rapper and a singer, he's a producer as well. All 10 tracks on this project, Scribs produced, and that's why it's so high up on the list, because he produced it, he rapped, and he sung on all the tracks. and it's just a cold combination when you can produce your own tracks that sound this good and deliver with the flows, the bars, and the singy sings, yeah, and the melodies. It's a mad combination. The track Introduce Myself was a nice introduction for me to Known and Jada. Known was featured on somebody else's album in this list. I forgot who it was now. But a solid introduction to those two. The voices were sick. I really enjoyed that little feature there from those two. The track Used to This just shows how good his vocals are, Scribs. One thing I will say about this whole project is the vocals are great and the production all the way through the project is sick. So shout out Scribs Riley for that one there. There's a beat switch on the track called East Side, which is just sick. I love the raw emotion and the vocals on the track I Lied. And there's solid vocals and the mix as well. The mix sounds boss on the closing track, Secretly. So like I say, this project right here for me is like a solid 9 out of 10 almost. I can't really find a flaw with it. It's such a good project. Check it out. Now into the top 3. At number 3 on the list, we have JME with Grime MC. Now, JME took an unorthodox approach in the streaming era to this album drop, and he dropped it only in physical format. And as you can see from the wall behind me, I'm a vinyl guy, so that was sound by me. I went out and copped the vinyl on release day. You get me? Listen to this project, and I thought, wow. People say grime is dead, and JME's here saying, bro, what do you mean grime's dead? Man's got to self-revive. Yeah, playing Warzone. Man's got to self-revive, bro. I'm going to stab me in the arm and revive it because, grime is not dead for sure. JME shows this on Grime MC. Shows what it means to be a grime artist and a grime MC, hence the name of the album. We've got the opening track, 96 of My Life, which he loves to do this 96 series. We've got 96 Bars of Revenge, 96 Fuckeries, 96 of My Life. It's a mausoleum, that track right there. Definitely one of the best on the album, and it's the first track. We've got the song Pricks, and he sounds like he's just teaching the game to the youngers, people coming through, and he's like, listen, if you want to come through in the game, I took this personally as like personal advice. It almost felt like JME was talking straight to me, and it was, he was just like, listen, if you want to make it in the rap game or anything you do in life, you just need to stop listening to all these pricks. So yeah, I love that track right there. The outro I thought was a bit like I wasn't really feeling it. He was doing like a sing type over it. It reminds me of my brother Ted from uni. Yeah, like it really reminds me of something Ted would do in like a freestyle. So shout out Ted. Then we've got the song It's Mad, which reminds me of a classic JME. He comes in with the flows and he uses like one thing, like he took the letter K and he'd keep rhyming K as a scheme, and then he swaps to P and he'd keep rhyming P as a scheme, and it's just classic JME flow and bars. So sick. We've got the song Nang featuring Skepta, and this one is mad. I felt like JME was better than Skepta on this track as well, but this song right here is one of my favourites off the project. The track You Watch Me shows JME's personality for me personally. Like, I don't know him, I don't know the guy, do you know what I mean? I wish I did, because he seems like such a fun and genuine guy to get to know. I wish I could speak to JME or know him personally, do you know what I mean? But from just seeing him on YouTube and stuff, he does stuff with the Sidemen. I feel like this song definitely shows his personality, because he's talking about like stalkers and stuff, and he's like, bro, I'm sat here eating food and I can see you taking pictures of me. Come over and ask me for a picture if you want. Don't just sit there filming me with your phone. Like, if you want a picture, come over and say it. I'm just a normal person. You know what I mean? And he was a bit confused about like why people do that, and the stalkers in the internet era. We've got some solid features on the rest of the track, on the rest of the album as well. We've got P Money, we've got Shaka, Big Holler Man Gigs is on here. Yeah, SM1. Yeah, big shout out Gigs. I love Gigs. We've got President T on here as well. We've also got the Godfather of Grime. We've got Wiley featured on the track Yes Men. The track Move On, JME gets into like his singy bag and starts singing, gets a bit emotional on this track. Definitely a nice switch up from the regular grime flows to hear JME singing. The song Change as well. As someone who doesn't like change, the song Change really like resonated with me, and I really did like that tune right there. And the track here was one of my favourites on the whole album. It was one of the closing tracks towards the end. There's a mad like woodwind instrument on the beat on this one, and it just sounds so sick. One of my favourites on the whole project. So that is why Grime MC is in at number 3. Just a solid project all round. Definitely check this one out. I don't think it's on streaming platforms yet, but if you're a real music lover and a music fan, you should have a CD player or a vinyl player, and you should be buying the people's music that you do enjoy. Support the artists, because as an artist myself, I know you get fucking nothing from streams. You need to rely on people to buy your music for the serious P's. So if you've got an artist that you really like and support, and you want to support them, buy the music, don't just stream it. But moving on to number 2, the top 2 is so close. You know, while I was making this list, I kept swapping them, and I was like, who should be number 1? Who should be number 2? It was so close, but in the end, we did go with, at number 2, we've got Nines with Crabs in a Bucket. Now, it was so hard between this album and the one I've got at number 1. Nines is one of my biggest inspirations personally as an artist. Like I say, I do music myself, I'm a rapper myself. And Nines and Pot of Paper, I would definitely say, are my biggest like inspirations right now for the type of music that I'm looking to write and create. So to have Nines at number 2 and not number 1, you know, I had to take the bias out of it, because like I say, I just love Nines. But yeah, man. So we've got a solid project from Nines here. There wasn't many skips on it at all. I felt like every song, there was a part of it that I did like. We've got the song Energy with Scraps. Big up Scraps, yeah? You know, you're mad. Now, I know a few people did criticise the hook on this track, but I felt like because it was so raw, and like the emotions on it.
Trying to get my money longer, but my brother died, so that turned me to a monster. Now they wanna be my friend, they need to allow me. They're bad man, I don't need that energy around me. They don't wanna see me chasing my dreams, rather see me posted on the estate with the fiends.
I felt like it fit having Nines do the hook on this one because it was so personal, or it felt so personal to Nines himself. So to have a feature on here, it would feel a bit unnatural. And, you know, Scraps goes in.
First they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. They say you're meant to keep your enemies closer than friends. I stay on the road to riches, trying to see where it ends. Fuck a bitch and then it's back to get this money again.
Now the song Clout, he actually released a music video too, and if you've seen that video, it's a mazzoline. He goes through like all different settings, like in different album covers, almost like reenacting the album covers, do you know what I mean, in his own like him putting himself into the album cover. Such a sick concept, and a sick video. Definitely check that out if you've never seen the video. The tune Realist features Naif Smalls and Funds, and it's definitely a highlight track off the album. You know, Naif goes in on the hook, and Funds does his thing as well on his feature there. I think Aeroplane Mode is the most streamed track off the whole album, and that features NSG, and you know, there's no surprise there because it is a banger.
Airplane mode to ignore them. Yeah, we ugly, so unfair them. I can't talk to them, I got in the chair, man. Can't fuck with them, got them for player, man. She asked if I got a girl, I said how many? How many mansions? Too many. You can get left right like Benjamin Mendy. Or you want to 20 and cruise in a Bentley.
The hook on that track there is a mad thing, yeah, you get me? Because there's so many people in the group NSG, it sort of feel like they take over the track almost. I could have done with like another Nines verse in there, because you know I think Nines only has one verse on this track, and NSG sort of feel like they take over the track and make it their own thing, you get me? So maybe another Nines track would have been nice, another Nines verse. Now we get the track NIC with Tiggs the Author, and Tiggs goes in on the hook on this track, you get me? And the production on this tune right here is crazy. Like, this one sounds so good.
You see the stars in a rave, don't make your galley misbehave. This the way we like. I was in the trenches with my dogs, down with the people in charge. Down with the people in charge.
Crazy tune, yeah? The tune Lights features Louis from Weston. Big up Weston each and every time. Weston makes such good quality music. A group that I'm a big fan of, Weston, and it features Louis from Weston, who kills his verse on this. And the intro to this track is probably my favourite on the whole album. The way Nines comes into this track, the first bar just sets the tone for this track, and it's so clean.
From Slap, told him, course I got the ting. Fucking middleman, I even get my water from the spring.
The track Ringling felt like another tune for the ladies. It wasn't really for me. You know, I'd prefer Heady One on a drill type flow. Heady One featured on this track, like I say. Wasn't really for me, this one. One of the last tracks on the album is All Stars 2, which features a lot of people. We've got Clavish, Frosty, Q2T, and Chapo CSB featured on this one. It's almost like a cypher type feel to it, you know, like each man stepping up and laying a verse. Definitely a hard track, you know, each of them goes in their own individual way. And a nice track from Nines to just put like people who are maybe lesser known than Nines, put them out there on a track together, and give them some exposure. And then we've got the outro to the album, which is a solid closer for me, in my opinion. So that is why, you know, it comes in at number 2. A solid project from Nines. Better than Crop Circle, in my opinion. Just a sick project from Nina with the Nina, you get me, like. Now it's time to reveal what album does take the #1 spot, the best album out of the UK in 2020. What is it gonna be? You already know what time it is. You already know what time it is.
You don't have to find me if I'm looking for you, cause I'm spin round there when there's nothing to do. Left everything red when I came out of blue. I'ma walk right by like I ain't got a clue.
It's a big conspiracy. Nah, it's not true. That's right, we've got J Hus with Big Conspiracy. You get me? Big Conspiracy came out a long time ago. It feels like last year, but it was actually the start of 2020 before the coronavirus pandemic. Feels like a different world, you know, like when I was doing this list and I clocked, wait there, Big Conspiracy came out in 2020. I was like crazy, and it stood the test of time. You know, it's December now, Christmas Eve as I'm recording this. You get me? Still out here working on Christmas. But yeah, like I say, it came out in like January times, February times, early in the year, and it's still a banging record now. You know, I've not got tired of it even like 11, 10 months later. You know, the first two tracks feature Icy TGM, which is actually J Hus's sister, and it was a solid showing from her on the track Big Conspiracy, which is one of my favourites on the record, the opening track, as well as Helicopter, you know, absolute banging tunes. The tune Fight For My Right is a solid track as well, apart from that little verse where it's a bit sus, when he's like, I was real until I fucked my brother's girl, and then like something mad like, when I get married I'll let like my brother fuck my wife as well. Like I thought that was a bit weird, that verse there, but nonetheless a good tune. Like the hooks especially is what gets me with these songs right here on this project, and probably puts it above Nines on the #1 spot. I had them rated very similar in the 8.5 to 9 range, but yeah, like I say, the hooks are just so addictive. Like even that, like I say, the verse on Fight For Your Right was a bit like weird, but like I say, the hook on that tune is so addictive.
How do you sleep at night when you don't even fight for your rights?
The next song on the album, Triumph, again shows just an excellent example of a hook. The hook on this tune is one of my favourites on the whole album, and it's so catchy and just gets stuck in your head all day, and he comes in on the verse with like a nice skippy flow. Solid song altogether.
They only respect violence, bad man move in silence. The fake is forming alliance, but the real will always triumph.
Again, the tune Play Play with Burna Boy, another solid hook, solid track. And the gun theme running through this track, Play Play, is mad, like relating the gun but to his ting. You get me? Like it was a nice thing there, a nice little like scheme.
I know you're in love. Call me up the Mac with the extension. And me up the money for your extensions. Call me like your hair longer than my gun. Ooh, though we got the guns and girls, got to keep the balance. And up in my world, with no sleep in the man.
I didn't really like the tune Cucumber, but then it comes right back in with Repeat featuring Coffee, and a solid feature from Coffee there. And I felt like they had a good chemistry on that track, Repeat. You know, Coffee and J Hus, I felt like they went like together very well, and they flowed together very nicely. The tune Reckless I thought had quite a weak hook. I wasn't really a fan of that one. And Fortune Teller as well, I thought was a bit meh. Like his flow and his voice fit the beat, but for me personally, it wasn't a tune that I revisited a lot. The song No Denying, with like that weird sample in the background, I don't even know what instrument it is. It reminds me of like a Spanish Mexican like mariachi type band. Definitely one of the best songs off the album for me. The tune Must Be, obviously everyone knows that one, and if you don't know that one, you must be a op, because if you don't know about that tune, it releases as a single before the album, and you know everyone knows that tune. The tune Love, Peace and Prosperity, I really like the theme of that song there and the way it sounded. Like, you know, that's what we all want in life, innit? Love, peace and prosperity. And then we have Deeper Than Rap to close off the album, and for me personally, this is one of my favourite songs of the year. I just love how real and raw it sounds. You know, the beat is quite like, it's not really intrusive, do you know what I mean? It sounds like I'm just listening to his voice. It almost feels a cappella in a sense, because I feel like I'm just listening to him, and I'm not listening for like I say, with me, like when I listen to Gunna, DBlock, I'm not listening for the beat for this tune here. It's just so real and raw.
I don't wanna make friends, I don't wanna break the ice. I think about my life and I analyze. The gunman was aiming at me, but he weren't precise. I looked down the barrel of the gun and saw paradise. They don't wanna see us win, they wanna sabotage. The next time they see me in the flesh, I'll be camouflaged. Heard a man talk grease and he's thinking he's hard, till I catch him like in there with his Nicki Minaj.
You know, this feels like a good tune to end the album on, or end the video on as well. Like, I feel like it's a nice outro, deeper than rap. Yeah, we'll pause it so we don't get copyright claim. But, you know, that is going to be it for this video, boys. Hopefully it wasn't too long of a watch. Or if it was, I hope you enjoyed just the length of the watch. You know, I put a lot of time into analysing each of these albums, put my thoughts together for each of these top 15 albums. And like I say, you know, this is my opinion. And the good thing about opinions is that everyone has one. You don't have to agree with mine. Let me know what your opinion is in the comments below. Your top 15 or top 10 albums. But as always, keep it respectful. Yeah, hashtag it respectfully. Let me know in the comments what you're saying. I appreciate all the love and support that you have shown me on this channel this year. You know, we've got the gaming channel as well, Sasuke Gaming. We're nearly overtaking the gaming channel on this one in subscribers. It's a mad thing because we started this one later than the gaming channel as well. So I appreciate all the love and support. You know, if you're new around here, make sure you hit subscribe and join. You know, next year I'm gonna hammer this channel with reactions. We've got the new setup. We've got the vinyl wall behind me. It's an easier setup than the previous one. So hopefully you like the new aesthetic. We've got the ring light here that's been blinding me for the last 2 hours that I've been recording. But yeah, man, like, hopefully you have a good Christmas, people. A good new year. Stay safe. Take it easy. And I'll catch us next year. 2021 is going to be a mad thing. Yeah? I'll catch us there, people. Take it easy.